Olympia, Washington. It's a city that greets you with open arms. Nestled at the southern tip of Puget Sound, its natural beauty is honestly just breathtaking. Majestic mountains watch over sparkling waters, and lush evergreen forests whisper ancient secrets to the wind. This is the state capital, a place of governance and history. Yet, Olympia is also a haven for artists, musicians, and free spirits. You can feel a vibrant, creative energy pulsing through its streets, a unique blend of official business and bohemian charm. It's a city that seems to have a little bit of everything for everyone who comes here. The people of Olympia are as diverse as its landscape. You meet dedicated state workers, passionate activists, innovative entrepreneurs, and families who have called this place home for generations. There's a strong sense of community here, a feeling that people care about their neighbors and their city. They engage in lively discussions in cozy coffee shops. They gather for farmers markets overflowing with local produce. They volunteer their time to make Olympia a better place. It's a city where voices are heard and participation is encouraged, fostering a sense of belonging and shared purpose. But beneath this picturesque surface, like many cities across America, Olympia faces its own set of challenges. Look closely, and you'll see the signs. You'll notice the quiet struggles that exist in the shadows of its beauty. The city's welcoming nature is being tested, its resources are being stretched. There are complex problems here that don't have easy answers. These are issues that weigh heavily on the hearts and minds of the people who live and work in this unique corner of the Pacific Northwest, prompting difficult conversations. One of the most pressing and visible of these challenges is homelessness. It's an issue that touches every part of the community. It sparks debate, evokes compassion, and sometimes frustration. How does a city known for its progressive values and stunning environment grapple with the stark reality of people living without shelter? This is the story of Olympia, a city of contrasts, as it confronts this human crisis. We ask, what is being done, and what more can be done for those without a place to call home? Walk through downtown Olympia or near its green parkways and you will see it. Tents clustered in small groups tucked away under bridges or along quiet roadsides. Individuals seeking shelter in doorways, their belongings gathered close. People asking for help, their faces etched with hardship. Homelessness is not an abstract concept here. It is a visible reality. It is present in the daily life of the city, a constant reminder of the neighbors who are struggling. The sight can be jarring against the backdrop of Olympia's natural beauty and its otherwise vibrant community life. This visibility, however, is more than just an aesthetic concern or a matter of public order. It is a profound human crisis unfolding before our very eyes. Each tent, each person seeking refuge represents a story of difficulty, of systems that may have failed, of circumstances that led to a life on the streets. It's easy to look away, to feel overwhelmed, or to simply wish the problem would disappear. But the reality of homelessness demands our attention, our understanding, and our compassion. It calls us to look deeper, beyond the surface. The issue of homelessness in Olympia is incredibly complex. There isn't one single cause, nor is there one simple solution. It's a tangled web of economic pressures, personal struggles, and societal gaps. Factors like the rising cost of living, mental health challenges, substance use disorders, and a lack of affordable housing all play significant roles. Understanding this complexity is the first step toward finding meaningful and effective ways to respond. It requires patience and a willingness to listen to many different perspectives, even those that conflict. To truly grasp the situation, we need to move beyond assumptions and generalizations. We need to understand who is experiencing homelessness in Olympia. We need to know the scale of the problem and the specific factors driving it in this community. Only then can we begin to explore the efforts being made to address this crisis and the hopes for a future where everyone has a safe place to call home. The journey starts with acknowledging the heartache and seeking to understand its roots. To understand the challenge Olympia faces, we must look at the numbers. Numbers can feel impersonal, but they help us see the scope of the issue. According to the most recent point-in-time count conducted in Thurston County in early 2025, an estimated 920 individuals were experiencing homelessness on any given night. A significant portion of these individuals are found within the city limits of Olympia, drawn by services or the sense of a larger community. This figure represents a slight increase from previous years, indicating a persistent and growing need. These numbers also reveal a diverse group of people. It's not a faceless monolith, it's our neighbors. Approximately 15% of those counted were youth under the age of 24, some unaccompanied, some with families. Veterans who have served our country made up nearly 10% of the homeless population, a stark reminder of our duty to support them. Seniors aged 55 and older represented a growing segment, around 18%, often struggling on fixed incomes. And heartbreakingly, about 30% were people in families with children, fighting to maintain stability for their little ones. The trend these numbers suggest is concerning. While Olympia and Thurston County have been working to address homelessness, the influx of new individuals falling into homelessness often outpaces the efforts to house people. This shows the severity of the underlying causes, such as the affordable housing crisis gripping much of the West Coast. It highlights that current interventions, while crucial, may not be enough to turn the tide without broader systemic changes. The data pushes us to ask tougher questions about prevention and long-term solutions. It is vital to remember that behind every statistic is a human being, a father trying to find work, a young woman who aged out of foster care with nowhere to go, an elder who lost their apartment after a medical emergency. These numbers are not just data points, they are calls for help. They are indicators of where our community needs to focus its energy and resources. They challenge us to look past the figures and see the faces, hear the stories, and respond with renewed determination and empathy. One of the primary drivers of homelessness in Olympia is the sheer cost of housing. Over the past decade, rents and home prices in the Puget Sound region have soared. Wages, especially for those in lower-paying jobs, have not kept pace. Many hardworking individuals and families find themselves spending more than half their income on rent, leaving them one paycheck away from disaster. An unexpected illness, a car repair, or a job loss can quickly lead to eviction and homelessness. The dream of affordable, stable housing is slipping away for too many. Mental health challenges are another significant factor. Access to affordable and consistent mental health care can be incredibly difficult. Many individuals experiencing homelessness struggle with conditions like depression, anxiety, PTSD, or more severe mental illnesses. Without proper treatment and support, managing daily life, maintaining employment, and securing housing becomes an overwhelming battle. The streets can exacerbate these conditions, creating a vicious cycle that is hard to break. Community mental health services are often underfunded and overstretched, leaving vulnerable people without the care they desperately need. Substance use disorders also contribute to homelessness, often intertwined with mental health issues. Some individuals may turn to drugs or alcohol to cope with trauma, mental illness, or the harsh realities of life on the streets. Addiction can destroy relationships, lead to job loss, and make it nearly impossible to maintain housing. While treatment options exist, they may not be readily accessible, affordable, or tailored to the complex needs of those who are also unhoused. The stigma surrounding addiction can further isolate individuals, making it harder to seek and receive help. Beyond these individual struggles, systemic barriers play a crucial role. A lack of affordable health care means medical debt can bankrupt families. The transition from foster care or incarceration often lacks adequate support, leaving individuals vulnerable. Past traumas, discrimination, and a shrinking social safety net create pathways into homelessness that are difficult to escape. Addressing homelessness effectively means tackling these deep-rooted societal issues, not just the visible symptoms. It requires a commitment to creating a more equitable system where everyone has a fair chance. Meet Sarah. She's only 19. Sarah grew up in the foster care system, moving from one home to another. When she turned 18, she aged out. Suddenly, she was on her own with no safety net. She tried to find a job and an apartment, but it was tough. With no credit history and no cosigner, landlords turned her away. She spent a few months couch surfing, but eventually her options ran out. Now Sarah sleeps in a tent, just trying to stay safe and hold on to hope for a better future. She dreams of going to community college, but first, she just needs a stable place to live. Then there's Mark, a veteran in his late 40s. He served 2 tours overseas and came back with scars you can't see. PTSD, he calls it. Nightmares and anxiety became his constant companions. He found it hard to hold down a steady job. His marriage fell apart. Slowly, he lost everything. Now he lives in his old car, parked on a quiet street. He feels forgotten, ashamed to ask for help. Mark served his country, but now he feels like his country has let him down. He just wants a chance to find peace and rebuild his life. Consider Eleanor, who is 72 years old. She worked her whole life as a cleaner. Her husband passed away a few years ago, and she lives on a small fixed income from Social Security. For years, she managed to get by in her modest apartment. But then, the building was sold, and the new owners raised the rent significantly. Eleanor couldn't afford it. She had no family nearby to help. After months of searching for something she could afford, with no luck, she ended up in a shelter. She says it's hard at her age, feeling so vulnerable and uncertain. And we see families too, like Maria and her 2 young children, ages 6 and 8. Maria worked part-time at a local diner. Her husband lost his construction job due to an injury. They fell behind on rent, and despite their best efforts, they were evicted. For a while, they stayed with friends, but that couldn't last. Now they sometimes sleep in their minivan, or if they're lucky, get a spot in a family shelter. Maria tries to keep things normal for her kids, making sure they get to school, but the stress is immense. She worries about their safety and their future every single day. Business owners in downtown Olympia often find themselves on the front lines. Many express deep compassion for those experiencing homelessness. Yet they also face real challenges. They talk about customers feeling unsafe, about litter and sanitation issues near their storefronts, and sometimes about disruptive behavior. Some have experienced theft or vandalism. They're trying to run a business, provide jobs, and contribute to the city's economy. They feel caught between wanting to help and needing to protect their livelihoods, leading to frustration and calls for more effective city action. Residents, too, have a wide range of views. Many are heartbroken by the sight of their neighbors living on the streets and are eager to support solutions. They volunteer at shelters, donate to food banks, and advocate for more affordable housing. Others express frustration and fear. They worry about safety in parks and public spaces, especially for their children. They're concerned about the impact of encampments on neighborhoods. But, this doesn't necessarily mean they lack compassion. It's just that they also want a city that feels safe and welcoming for everyone, including themselves. On another side are the advocates and volunteers, the unsung heroes working tirelessly. These are the people staffing the shelters, running the food banks, and doing outreach on the streets. They see the humanity behind the crisis every single day. They understand the complex trauma and the systemic failures that lead to homelessness. They fight for the rights and dignity of unhoused individuals. But they too face immense challenges: limited resources, burnout, and the emotional toll of witnessing so much suffering. Their dedication is inspiring, yet they cannot solve this crisis alone. Ultimately, beneath the differing opinions and frustrations, there's often a shared desire. Most people in Olympia want a community that is safe, healthy, and humane for everyone. They want solutions that are both compassionate and effective. The challenge lies in finding common ground, in bridging the divides. How can the city balance the needs of the unhoused with the concerns of the broader community? How can different groups work together rather than against each other? These are the questions Olympia is wrestling with every day. Olympia is not standing still. The city and its partners are exploring creative solutions. One promising approach is the development of tiny home villages. These are communities of small, individual shelters that offer a step up from traditional tents or emergency shelters. They provide residents with a safe, private space, a sense of community, and access to services like case management, healthcare, and job assistance. Plum Street Village is one such example, offering dignity and stability to those transitioning out of homelessness. It's a model that shows how innovative thinking can make a real difference. Shelters remain a critical part of the response. Olympia has various types of shelters, from emergency overnight facilities to longer-term programs for families or specific populations like youth. Organizations like the Union Gospel Mission and Family Support Center of South Sound provide not just a bed for the night, but also meals, showers, and connections to other resources. While shelters are not a permanent solution, they offer a vital lifeline, a safe haven from the streets, especially during harsh weather. They are often the first point of contact for individuals seeking to change their circumstances. Outreach teams and resource centers play a crucial role in connecting with people where they are. Trained workers and volunteers go out to encampments and other areas where unhoused individuals congregate. They build trust, offer supplies, and help people navigate the complex system of social services. Downtown's Drexel House and the Community Care Center provide drop-in services, offering access to showers, laundry, mail services, and connections to housing navigators and health providers. These efforts are essential for reaching those who might otherwise fall through the cracks. Collaboration is key to Olympia's approach. The city government, Thurston County, local nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and countless volunteers are working together. They share information, coordinate services, and apply for grants collectively. This collaborative spirit helps to maximize limited resources and avoid duplication of effort. Regular meetings and task forces bring different stakeholders to the table to discuss challenges and strategize solutions. While the problem is immense, this network of dedicated partners provides a strong foundation for action and hope. Despite these efforts, Olympia faces significant ongoing challenges and controversies. Public safety remains a major concern for many residents and business owners. Issues related to some encampments, such as drug use, crime, and sanitation, create tension and fear within the community. Finding a balance between providing compassionate care for unhoused individuals and ensuring public spaces are safe and accessible for everyone is a constant struggle. This often leads to difficult decisions and heated debates about how the city should respond to these complex situations. The management of homeless encampments is one of the most contentious issues. Some advocate for a more permissive approach, allowing encampments to exist with supportive services. Others call for stricter enforcement and the clearing of unauthorized camps, citing health and safety risks. The city has experimented with different strategies, including sanctioned encampments and increased enforcement in certain areas. Each approach has its own set of benefits and drawbacks, and there is no easy consensus on the best path forward. These debates highlight the deep divisions and the difficulty of finding solutions acceptable to all. Funding is another persistent challenge. Providing shelter, services, and housing solutions is expensive. Local governments and nonprofits rely on a patchwork of federal, state, and local funding, as well as private donations. There are always questions about whether the funding is sufficient, how it is being allocated, and whether it is being used effectively. Accountability for public funds is crucial, and community members rightly demand transparency. The sheer scale of the need often outstrips the available resources, forcing difficult choices about priorities. At the heart of many of these challenges is the severe shortage of truly affordable housing. Even when individuals secure a voucher or assistance, finding a landlord willing to rent to them or an apartment that fits within strict income limits can be nearly impossible. Building new affordable housing is a slow and costly process. Without a significant increase in the supply of housing that people with low incomes can actually afford, efforts to address homelessness will always be fighting an uphill battle. This systemic issue requires long-term vision and substantial investment from all levels of government and the private sector. Olympia is a city with a big heart and a resilient spirit. The challenges of homelessness are undeniably immense, testing the community's patience and resources. Yet in the face of these difficulties, the people of Olympia continue to show up. They volunteer, they advocate, they innovate, and they care. This enduring commitment to finding solutions, to seeing the humanity in every individual, is the city's greatest strength. It's this spirit that fuels the ongoing efforts to build a more inclusive and supportive community for everyone who calls this place home. While the path ahead is not easy, there are genuine reasons for hope. The The creative solutions being implemented, like tiny home villages and enhanced resource centers, are making a tangible difference in people's lives. The growing collaboration between government agencies, nonprofits, and community members is fostering a more coordinated and effective response. Each person successfully housed, each family stabilized, each individual connected to care represents a victory. These successes, however small they may seem, provide the momentum to keep pushing forward. The journey Olympia is on can offer valuable lessons for other cities grappling with similar issues. The willingness to try new approaches, to engage in difficult conversations, and to prioritize compassion are all elements that can inspire change elsewhere. No single city can solve homelessness in isolation, as its roots are often regional and national. However, local efforts, driven by community passion and a commitment to dignity, can create pockets of progress and demonstrate what is possible when people unite for a common cause. Ultimately, the future of Olympia depends on continued collective action. It requires sustained political will, adequate funding, and the active participation of its citizens. What would you do? How can your skills, your voice, your compassion contribute to positive change? Whether it's volunteering time, donating resources, advocating for policy changes, or simply engaging in respectful dialogue, everyone has a role to play. By building bridges of understanding and working together, Olympia can continue its journey towards becoming a city where hope truly finds a home for all.